What's good for one stock might not be so good for the rest of the market. We talk about it. You know what stock we're talking about? It Nvidia up $7. More good news, selling more chips. But maybe that's to blame for some of the stocks down in your portfolio. Yes, folks, stocks do go down. In fact, a majority of them blame Nvidia. We're going to cover that. We got some earnings reports. We have the Fed. It's a Fed day. Quarter now, quarter December, quarter, who knows, going into next year. We'll figure that out. What a day to have Matt Bryson on, Managing Director, Equity Hardware at Wedbush Securities. Guess what he covers, folks? The guessing games are over. This is pre-market prep on a Wednesday.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. And this is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Well, if you were a seller on the close, a little bit of a weak close, you're regretting it now. Up 18 handles, trading a new all-time high, 69.43.50. The buck is consolidating here, finding some resistance at 99, up a quarter, 98.70. TLT flat, just creeping higher ahead of that big Fed meeting, up a dime, 92.12. USO giving some back from last week's rally, up 11 cents, 71.75. GLD trying to rebound here, up 5.44, 369.82. SLV in the green too, a little bit more on a percentage basis, up a $1.05, 43.75. And Bitcoin just kind of meandering here, under 115K, down $595, 113,150. Let's bring in Triple D. Triple D, good morning to you. And what stock you want to talk about?
I don't know. There's no stock to talk about this morning. Nothing. It's just so boring out here. There's just not even a single stock at $5 trillion. Not a one. Not a one. Bring it up. Bring up your charts. Let's talk it. We got NVIDIA. Officially hits $5 trillion market cap. Yes, we hit $1 trillion. I felt like 3 years ago. Now $5 trillion. We just make $4 trillion in 5 years. It's pretty impressive on market cap. The official price, according to Market Watch, I didn't do the calculations myself, 205.76. So we crossed over that. We're at 208. Is a $5 trillion company. How much money is that? Like, just trying to give like perspective here. Brentster, bring that in. Brent, come on in here. Like $5 trillion. It's hard to fathom what $5 trillion is. Like, how much is $5 trillion in real world, like, applications here? So $5 trillion.
That's 1,000 billion, right? 999.
5,000 billion. 5,000 billion.
That's a lot of thousands.
Kind of mind-boggling.
That's absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, all of it. So, in any regard, is it worth $5 trillion? Well, it is today. Is it in the long run? We hope they grow into it, because the valuations here are getting pretty extreme. I'm still long NVIDIA, still holding strong. Been long for a long, long time now. P 57. Forward P 32, that's not bad. Price to sales is 30 now. It's a lot. Price to sales is a lot. But you know what? It's just got a power AI, and the story is hot. Valuation doesn't matter at all when the story is hot. Just think about if you're short. Think about the other side of this. Think about, what if you were short NVIDIA, saying the valuations is stupid, stock's going to go down here eventually, and we're all going to live happily ever after us being short this thing. Now it breaks out over 200. Well, you're in trouble. Stocks making new all-time highs, and stocks making new all-time highs, you absolutely don't want to be short them. So, like we were talking in the Stock Trader Network room yesterday, I'm like, this thing to 201. I'm like, this could be 210 or 220 tomorrow. That's what I said last night to the room. I'm like, because you're through 200. You got short scrambling here. You got the $5 trillion. It's not going to come this far and not hit the $5 trillion. So, I mean, here we are up another $7. But this has broad market implications. The market implications, I can't talk this morning, you would think is like, obviously chips are strong, AMD moving up, Qualcomm's up, Applied Materials, Micron. But broader market implications here. I'm going to read you a stat here right now. This is from Bar Chart. And thanks to RB Traders Ray, who follows me, sending me this stat from Bar Chart. This is from yesterday. Almost 80% of S&P 500 stocks declined yesterday, which is the worst day of market breadth ever recorded, while the S&P was making new all-time highs. 80% of stocks in the S&P were down yesterday, yet the S&P 500 significantly higher. Why? Because NVIDIA is so big. When NVIDIA goes up 6.5% like it did yesterday, the index is going up no matter what else happens. But not only that, if the S&P doesn't rally enough, the way the ETF arbitrageurs work is they sell the non-tech components. They sell everything else. And we were talking about this in STN yesterday morning as well. It was set up to sell non-tech stocks yesterday because NVIDIA was too strong. So if you're looking and wondering why all your value names, why Berkshire Hathaway was getting crushed yesterday and getting hit here again this morning, look no further than NVIDIA being too strong. ETF effects are real, folks. They are all that matters. We teach this stuff over on Stock Trader Network. This is the way you make the money understanding these things. So Berkshire Hathaway goes down when NVIDIA is going up too much. That's where we're at right now. It's happening again here this morning. So why is Warren? Did all of a sudden, Warren loses touch? He's retiring. We've all of a sudden realized it yesterday? No. Berkshire Hathaway was really weak yesterday because NVIDIA was up too much. Berkshire, all those value names, really weak yesterday because because NVIDIA was up too much. This is real, folks. These effects are real.
Microsoft kind of piling on things too yesterday.
For sure.
Right? Yeah.
So now you have the two top components, rip, roaring, rallying. And if we look, just at S&P market cap here, SPY, I guess Apple's number 2. But, you have number 1. No, actually, Microsoft is number 2.
Yeah, no, Microsoft. Yeah.
So when you have the two top components, rip, roaring, rallying higher, it's not surprising that you're going to see a lot of other stocks give up some gains or fall down. RSP, bring that up. Completely moving the opposite way to SPY. It's the same 500 stocks in the RSP, except they're weighted equally. So they're not all NVIDIA and Microsoft. RSP is kind of a real broad tell of here is what's really happening if we didn't have such heavy weighting on NVIDIA and Microsoft. Stocks were down yesterday. Stocks were down significantly yesterday. Stocks are actually trading down here again this morning. So don't get all excited. You come in and you're like, oh man, SP's up again. My stock's going to be doing great. If you got NVIDIA, if you got some tech stocks, you're going to be doing well. If you're sitting with a bunch of value names, not going to be doing nearly as well. Welcome to this ETF controlled market.
RSP lost $1.50 yesterday.
Yeah, on a day that everybody was just talking about how great the stock market is. 500 stocks down. That stat's like bar chart. Great on that stat. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's fun to read. 80% of S&P stocks declined yesterday. Worst day of market breadth ever recorded, with the S&P 500 making a new all-time high. Thank you, NVIDIA. It is NVIDIA's market. Everybody else just taking a back seat. NVIDIA's market, it continues this morning. So don't go, as long as NVIDIA is staying this strong, I wouldn't be all excited to go buy all those value names this morning. So be cautious. So there's trade setups here. If your stock is conservative value name, probably going to be under pressure today. There's always exceptions. Somebody will post out, well, this value stock was up, Dennis. Well, there's 6,000 stocks up there. Then we're saying as a whole, 4 out of 5 chance your value stock's going to be down.
How the IWM? I just wanted to look at that from yesterday too. that was down yesterday.
Those 2,000 stocks are no brainers to go and start selling.
So
now it doesn't mean that they can't turn around. I actually think that they're not selling off because, and you could say maybe this moves us into the Fed conversation. Oh, maybe they're nervous about interest rates. It could be. Maybe they're nervous about potential. And Brent, you were talking stats. Is that we are obviously going to get a Fed decision here today. We're obviously going to get lower rates. Spoiler alert, rates are going down today. What is the language? What are they talking about? They stay dovish? Did they say, oh, we are now cutting like no tomorrow? We're going to cut December. We're cutting we're cutting forever. Or do they say, you know what? We're going to cut and now we feel pretty good. Maybe stay where we are. Market wouldn't like that. So IWM, XBI, all those stocks, that will matter. But the reason they were down yesterday wasn't so much worries. It was NVIDIA was up too much. Today is a new day, though. We are going to be trading on Fed speak. We are going to be trading on Powell comments. We are going to be trading on interest rate projections. Brentster, you were saying December's chances of an interest rate lowering in December have actually, or interest rates staying the same, have actually gone up, meaning, not that great.
Yeah, I was surprised. Last week we were looking at the odds of no rate cut in December, and they were like 5%. When I looked this morning, they were 15%. So yeah, I understand that's still 85% for a rate cut, but relatively that is a pretty substantial drop in the odds that there would be no rate cut. So and then going into 2026, the odds for continued cutting into January also came down. So at least bettors on the Fed Fund Futures side of things are saying that they think the odds, they think the pace of Fed rate cuts are going to slow at the end of this year and into next year. Will the language reflect that this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Predictions. Are we now 2 and done? Because it's not 1 and done because we already cut once. Are we 2 and done? Or are we, this is the path. We're going to keep lowering.
Here's the curveball. Here's the curveball. Here's the curveball. Okay. He's gonna continue in December here. And okay. I thought from the language from the last Fed cut, it was going to be, 2 more this year and then put on the brakes in 26 and see what happens in 26. That was the impression I got. I don't know how much has changed between then. I know we're data. We're kind of absent of data. We did get the CPI, which is benign, but I think but what's going to happen, Dennis? What's going to happen if he gets a little hawkish and he backs and says maybe we're not going to go in December? What's going to happen? The S&Ps are going to fall 100 handles, right?
Well, the RSP.
Yeah. Well,
maybe not the S&P.
I mean, if he comes out and says anything that like December's almost off the table with the cut, we're going to get hit. We're going to get hit. But then, what's going to happen? They're going to buy the dip.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to come back up.
I'm going to buy the dip. Not they. Daddy.
Us.
Blindly buying the dip.
Yes.
Is the best strategy of all time. And blind buying the dip in 2025 has been just awesome. So, yeah. Buy the dip too. Along with every other money manager. Along with everybody else in the whole retail trading community. We're going to buy the dip until it doesn't work anymore. When does it stop working? When we start actually getting a 10%, 15, 20% correction. Does that happen anytime soon? I don't think so, but who the hell knows? Nobody has a crystal ball. We never know when it's going to happen. But I'm not going to sit here and keep trying to call tops with the S&P making new all-time highs. I'm not going to sit here and try to call tops with NVIDIA now up another 6 points to $5 trillion market cap. Calling tops? It's a tough business, man. If you're sitting in this business and saying, I just, every stock that makes new all-time high, I'm going to short that. I don't think you're going to be in business very long, at least as a trader. Shorting stocks, new all-time highs, perfect way to burn your cash, flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, there's, you could talk about, levels all you want, but I mean, NVIDIA, what's a level? I mean, it's already exceeded its average daily range. I will say at this point in the session, there is a seller at 209.37. I'd say over 209, maybe, if you get a pop here. Because in the last hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour, you've peaked in the 209 handle. So you're leaking just a little bit if you're playing this off
go
the
out on
hot.
a limb and say 209 is not going to be the all-time high. Just a guess.
I would
Joel wants to call a top. He didn't listen to anything I just said because calling tops tough business. But Joel wants to
I said a
call
target.
He loves
I
calling
said
tops.
a target. I'm a target.
Why a target of 209?
Because
it's the high.
As of right now, over the last hour, there have been people willing to sell the stock above 209. That's the last hour. What the hell that means in the next 2 hours or 3 hours, I don't know. But if they're selling at 209.50, they might want to be selling at 210. This is over the average daily range. This is a big move. People that took a flyer on like the 205 calls, they may want to lock something in. But that's it. We'll see. I mean, there's no formal resistance. You would need consolidation. You know, you move a high, maybe sit here for a couple days and get a little bit of consolidation. But I'm just saying, if you have a target in this area, then take it. If you think it's going to 215, 220, then
maybe you're saying if it's a $5 trillion market cap amount, 205.76, you get an extra 2 points here this morning, maybe you're out. I think $4 trillion, $5 trillion, $6 trillion. Why not? So I'm holding, not getting out of, not selling any of my long-term position here today. I don't think today is the day where NVIDIA tops, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's a big move. 180, it's got to top sometime at some point in time. I don't get paid to call tops, so I get paid to just go with the flow. That's really what it is. Going with the flow, you know, follow lemming style. I mean, that's what's working right now. The lemming trade working.
The lemming trade. Dang,
the lemming trade
that might be
continues to work.
Might be a good.
I mean, look at the earnings here for the lemming trade. Bloom Energy.
Okay.
Stock has went from $20 to 113. Bloom Energy, a stock that sat between $10 and $40 for a decade, is all of a sudden the AI trade of the world because we need energy and it's all going to be provided by Bloom. These are crazy moves, man. Am I investing in Bloom Energy at $130? No. Am I going to trade it? Maybe, because this crap just keeps going up. Not that it's crap. I mean, we're going to say Bloom Energy and crap is a good company. But I mean, this is this relentlessness, like the valuations be damned. You know, nobody gives a crap because when stocks make new all-time highs, valuation doesn't matter at all. But I mean, we're trading 126 times forward earnings on an energy company. This probably never traded in the history of this company. How long has Bloom Energy been there? It's not like this is a new startup. This isn't like Oklo, folks. This isn't a new company we're trying to figure it out. It's a company that's been out here for a very, very long time. Go out to your chart as far as you possibly can go on Bloom Energy, Joel. BE. Long term. It has been
founded in
out
2001.
Here. It's been out here for 25 years. It's a 25-year company. 25 years. Now all of a sudden, it's got a current PE of 1,416.
Are you serious?
It's got a forward PE of 126. We're in la land on valuations for sure. Like long-term investing in BE, you probably lose money. Probably. Short-term, saying the top is in because the valuation is too high. Well, that was at 50, 60, 80, 100. Now it's 130. Trading is a lot different than investing. Not touching this with my investment hands, but hell, you can trade anything and the thing keeps going higher.
All of that being said, the report was really strong. They reported 15 cents versus 9 cents. Sales beat by almost $100 million, 520 million versus about 420 million. A little comment here for the company CEO. Bloom is at the center of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to redefine how power is generated and delivered. Period. End of story. Optimism out of Bloom Energy. Does it really matter in this market, though? I think that's kind of your strong hint there, Dennis.
It's just crazy. The valuations are all absurd on a lot of levels here. We are fully partying like it's 1999. But you know what happened in 1999? The market went up for another year. So we can't, as traders, we got to ignore valuation. Jay, I'm going to listen and talk to you closely here because I'm trying to be very clear and concise. Exactly what I'm saying is what you were saying, Jay. We're on the same page. We can trade anything. Trade has been the way. I'm long NVIDIA. Do I think it's really fundamentally worth $5 trillion? No, probably not. It's probably overvalued. But I'm still holding it long because that's what's working. As a trader, even and I'm invested in NVIDIA, but I mean, there's no reason to just think this is the day it tops out. We could have said a 3 trillion, a 4 trillion, a 5 trillion. Now we're 5 trillion. I mean, what's stopping it? What's stopping Bloom Energy today? Why is today the day that Bloom Energy, they've all of a sudden realized it's overvalued? Valuation, I'm the one that started saying that. Valuation doesn't matter at all when the story is hot. The AI story is still hot. I'm the one that said that. I'm the one that's always said that. Valuation doesn't matter at all when the story is hot. So we trade all this stuff from the long side. I'm trading Bloom Energy on the weekends. I'm trading Bloom Energy overnights. I'm trading it from the long side, knowing that there can be a rug pull at any time. So you're always being cautious that you don't have this like inevitable rug pull, like, and you've got to be cautious, sitting on ready just in case, it Oklows you, because it did. I mean, Oklo, we can talk about valuations not mattering, but, bang, Oklo was 193 and then it was 113 in a heartbeat. So, these things can get rug pulls fast. Bloom Energy will have its day as well. But right now, new all-time highs. I don't get paid short stocks making new all-time highs.
Well, let's just call the former all-time high major support at 125.75. You're $4 through that, so that will now act as major support. And I'm not even gonna the pre-market high of 138.01 is totally irrelevant.
The chat wants to talk LRN. It's your disaster stock of the day. Yes, this could happen to Bloom Energy. I agree. This could happen to a lot of stocks. Usually happens on an earnings report. LRN is not Bloom Energy, though. It's not trading at a ridiculous multiple. It's trading 23 times earnings. So what did they say? Because this market, the most unforgiving market ever, stock lowers guidance also slightly, and they knocked 43% off the market cap. Bredster,
that was it. You did it. You did it. The quarter was good. Even earnings 140 versus about 110. Sales beat pretty nicely, 620 million. It was the guidance though. Q2 sales expected 620 to 640. Analysts up at 650. Also, the fiscal year 26 sales guidance was lower than expected, 2.48 versus 2.56 billion. Analysts closer to 2.7 billion for Stride.
I mean, this wasn't a stock that was, riding. It was riding pretty high, but I mean, it was a stock that was up like 50% this year, not even 40%. Bang! Let's get back 2 years of gains. These moves are going to start happening. They're going to happen. They're going to happen when growth slows. When you see a little smidgen of growth slowing, that's your trigger to get the hell out. So we didn't see that with Bloom Energy yesterday. We didn't see anything that really overly concerned the market. A little bit of growth slowing here, LRN. See ya. They're all selling. Do you come in and buy the dip on something like this? I like buying 10% dips, 5% dips. I don't like buying 43% dips because that just crushes everyone. So now you have bag holder central everywhere in here. It could have bounced. Could we do it for a dead cat bounce trade tonight? Probably. I'll probably write it down for that. So that's a possibility, but that would be a short-term trade. Trade anything. But coming in and trying to call the bottom on stuff, buy the strength. Brian Shannon, we're giving you a lot of love here. We got to bring you back on the show. Buy the strength after the dip, not the initial dip.
Pre-market low is as we speak, 85.60. The only thing you could do in this one is keep an eye on the pre-market low and right at 9:30 and see where, if you go down another 5 or 10 points from that and then you come back up through it. Only relevant stuff here is on the monthlies, and we are through 91.86. So maybe someday, how's that for a prediction? Someday it will trade 91.86. I don't know if that's the day, but today's the day. Your next monthly low, folks, you don't want to hear this at 63.25. I think I can go out on a limb and say we're not going to see that today, but it's quiet here at the lows of the pre-market session. And looking at the company, I mean, an education company. I mean, didn't we learn our lesson? What was Brent? And I think we had the guy on our show once. What wasn't there an education stock during COVID that went absolutely crazy? And I think it ended up going to zero. Help me out, chat. There's
Well, there's a lot of
another
stocks and COVID that
online
absolutely
education
crazy.
company.
EDU?
There was like
No, not EDU. There was another one. It was EDU and there was another one. He's right. Who was the other one? EDU. There was two of them. EDU
man.
pair traded.
Chat's gonna have to help us.
Yeah.
Chegg? Well, Chegg is still around.
Yeah.
Chegg is still around.
It hasn't went to zero, but it's a buck.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, in
That's it.
2020,
one
this
you were
thing went
thinking?
from 30 to 115. Great memory, Joel. Now it's a buck. I mean, hard comparisons here. This was a stock that we were never going to leave our houses again. We're going to have to all get home, educated from home, and then all of a sudden the reopening happened and it was over. The virus didn't kill us all. That was the end of Chegg, when the virus didn't kill us all.
And there, in the chat was the Chinese one, EDU. Is that
yeah? And it was rallying.
Yeah.
It was crazy then too. It went 2020 up. It's never recovered to those highs. Themes change. When the themes change, move into the new themes. Move out of the old themes and into the new themes. That's what you got to do. Rotate. Rotation station.
Okay.
We covered one earnings stock here. We got a lot of earnings to cover. It was 200
Okay,
or
go.
1,000 companies reporting this week. Should we move on?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Let's
How about
go,
you
Brent,
go?
lead the way.
I was gonna say Generac.
Woo!
We had a couple people in chat asking about
Sure.
Generac, so why not?
Brentster,
stock that we've been watching.
GNRC.
Right, company with a miss. 183 versus 220 in earnings per share. That's not a good number. Sales 1.1 billion, 1.19 billion. They did also cut guidance. They're expecting 2025 sales down from 4.3 to 4.5 billion, now to around 4.3 billion. Analysts are up over 4.4 billion. Generac shares here this morning down about $20 or so.
You know what else is the problem? Seasonality. We are coming out of hurricane season. Yes, Melissa was scary. Melissa's still strong. Melissa's going to hit Cuba as a 4, hit Jamaica as a 5. But we're coming towards the tail end of earnings season here. Look at no farther than last November, Joel. If you can scroll in and show us this, we'll look at the price of Generac from September to November. The stock went from 140 to 190. And then November happened, and the stock went from 190 to 100. This is a seasonal stock. This stock trades on hurricane season. We're coming out of hurricane season. So last year, the stock topped out a little bit later in November, mid-November. So you're starting to run out of time here for Generac. I mean, unless there's a real crazy bad one that hits the U.S., and it is a U.S. thing more than Jamaica, is obviously, been hit pretty hard here. But there's not a lot of Jamaicans, maybe some of the hotels, but a lot of them probably not buying Generacs. Not a rich country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the one thing about these islands. These people are poor, so they're probably not buying Generacs. They're like, oh crap, I lost electricity. I better go buy a Generac. I mean, a lot of these people are living in shacks, So there's definitely some rich people there too. And some people are going to buy Generacs. And somebody points out, oh yeah, there's rich people there too. There is, for sure. There's a lot of poor people in Jamaica. So the average person is going to be much poorer than the U.S., so they're probably not. So that's why, we really didn't see much of a catalyst from this hurricane, even though it was really nasty to Jamaica. So unless there's something that hits the U.S. coming in the next few weeks, this Generac trade is probably running out of steam. And now you get bad earnings on top of it, cutting guidance, seasonality. This is a dip I'm staying away from.
Finally, after all these stocks have something that can give you at least a monthly level on, and we only have to go back to earlier this month and also last month. 162. If you don't think down 11.5%, $22 at 168 is enough, then hold out for the pair of monthly lows at 162, and then after that it really drops off. But right now, Keep an eye on that. You actually did get a shot at that in the pre-market. Oh boy, someone hit this to 157.01. That was a little bit of an overshoot, but I'd like the 162 area here. If we get that low in,
so you got a big level of support. You still have a couple weeks here, so maybe you don't want to shorten the hole, but I do think rallies to be sold in this name now. I think that's where we're at with seasonality coming to an end, and I see that last year what it did, and we know it jacks up into hurricane season. I mean, it did it this year too. Just look, we've been July, and then we moved up in August a little bit sooner, but then we started ramping in the middle of September and ramping up again, getting ready for hurricane season, because that's when September is the worst, right? September the peak month, Brentster? September, October, usually the peak month.
September,
right?
Yeah, September, October, yeah.
Yep. It was strong again into September and October. So, it plays seasonality very well. It's the ultimate seasonal stock. So coming out of hurricane season, maybe you're going to rally because we just buy dips, but I'm staying away. I'll not be making money on this one.
The only thing they could save this stock now is that an announcement that the data centers are going to be backed up by Generac.
Joel, you're starting rumors here.
Joel,
that is the catalyst.
Yeah,
I'm just giving it.
No, Joel.
Joel's starting rumors here. If you see this,
I'm not starting
off right now. It's because Joel Elconin just started a rumor that NVIDIA was going to back up and Dell and SMCI are going to back up all their data centers using Generacs.
You said it, Dennis.
NVIDIA does a deal with Generac to back up, every AI data center in the world. That would be a catalyst. That would change my thesis. This is a rumor, folks.
It's not a rumor. It's not even
a little
bit
of a joke here.
It's a joke.
I'm joking, doing my hand talking because I see some odd lots all trading higher here.
Can I say something a little bit of sarcastic? I mean, also they're doing an offering and they're buying Bitcoin. Is what else they're doing.
That's cool anymore.
That's just not true.
That's not cool anymore.
That sets sail. That's not working as well in the last few weeks.
Bitcoin
not participating again. Bitcoin says, screw the rally. We're not rallying. What is wrong with, gold and Bitcoin moving together more than gold and the Qs right now? It's true. Gold.
Could you imagine the size of the generator you would need to back up those data centers?
They just get up 1,000 or 100,000. They just have them all lined up. Generacs everywhere because we can't go down for an hour. They probably do have them backing up already. There is probably a little bit of that going on. But if they made like a press release, and made a spectacle of it, that would change things. So we're speaking to Generac management. Want your stock to go back up? Joel Elconin has the way. This is the way.
Mr. DeSoto says that they've already said that. I haven't seen that. But anyways.
We didn't see with Generac. We didn't see a press release.
Next, come on.
We're not smart enough to figure it out on our own. We have to see press releases because that's when the algos do it. Next. Okay, one more stock. Then we got our guest waiting in the background here. We don't want to keep our guest waiting here. Matt Bryson in the background. Etsy. Do Etsy really quick, Brentster. Give me the earnings here. We do Etsy in under a minute.
Okay, give me one sec. Etsy reporting 63 cents a beat versus 53 cents. Sales also beating 678 million versus the 655 million. They gave a little gross merchandise value guidance, expecting just under $4 billion. Etsy shares here this morning under a little bit of pressure.
This is a dip I'd be more interested in buying here. One, because it was the acronym in my fade trade for the year. Two is because I think it's a fun stock. So I ate 65.
Yeah.
They say I can't buy 65, but maybe I can. I can't buy 65.
Drive 65. Who's saying
he has
that?
to correct me.
Who's saying that? Who was that, Brent? You should know.
Brentster knows it. DJ Brentster will know. Brentster, who sings that song? I can't drive 65. Is it
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. That Sammy Hagar. We should have got that.
Sammy.
Joel, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Oh yeah.
That was in your wheelhouse. You had your long hair going.
Yeah.
Just partying back day. Driving your car. I can't
driving my Volkswagen, and I had a big peace sign.
Oh
and,
yeah, Joel's got
and
a
I
painted
had a
on the side of the car.
bandana. Yeah, wearing a tie-dye T-shirt. Actually, I still got a lot of tie-dye T-shirts. Lisa wants me to throw out, but
You should wear one on the show. Okay, and give me your technical thoughts in 10 seconds.
I like your 65. There was a low there, and it's also the 50
it's
day.
55. We suck.
Yeah, there we
It's
go.
like try 55. It's not 65. Oh my
Yeah, well,
gosh,
that was
we
you.
suck.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get.
That's it. Get up.
All right,
Go to Matt.
Matt,
Go to Matt.
please.
It's
Roll
55.
Okay, Matt, you picked a heck of a day to join us here. We are joined by Matt Bryson. You know him as the managing director, equity research at Wedbush Hardware. Wow, what a thing to talk about, Matt. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's earnings, so it's busy, but it's been a week so far, and there's still earnings to come.
Does anything surprise you with these stocks? If you think about Intel getting rescued by the government, you think of Nvidia with the announcement that they had, are you just at the point where it's like what comes next is almost impossible to predict?
It's impossible to predict, and news flow has been crazy. Right? You had Jensen yesterday in Washington. You had Sam Altman. You had the deal with Microsoft and OpenAI this week. It just things keep on happening, and they keep on happening at an accelerated rate.
Is it sustainable? I mean, I just think about, the use of AI. I mean, how much, we were talking about this. Some people have been talking about it for a long time, but I mean, is this the momentum just never going to end? Is it sustainable? What's your take on that?
So I think it's kind of like the internet, and people like to talk about, is NVIDIA the next Cisco? The thing to remember with the internet is that really hit in 94, 95. And from 95 through 99, you saw a ton of productivity expansion for the US workforce. And I think we're just at the cusp of that. And so is it sustainable? If these job cuts we're seeing are really job cuts due to AI replacement, then yeah, it's going to drive productivity. And people are going to pay for it because they're getting savings, because they're able to, effectively make their workforce more productive.
Let's go to NVIDIA right now. Making the announcement. I mean, talking up your stock here, busting out over 200. I'm not sure if you had to adjust your price target for today, but just to talk about this as far as your targets go, and they report later in the quarter. I think we're probably getting a preview of what we're going to see, but give us some details on NVIDIA.
Yeah. So yesterday, Jensen said, over the course of Blackwell, we're going to ship $500 billion worth of product. If you look at my numbers, you look at street numbers, it's a little bit unclear. Was he talking just GPUs? Was he talking total infrastructure? But the kind of most conservative take, street and my numbers have, let's call it 440 billion in spend, total infrastructure spend in calendar 25, calendar 26. So that's 60, 70 billion above what anyone had. And remember, all of that 60, 70 billion gets into the next 6 quarters, right? You already have some of that period over. And so effectively it raises everyone's top line on data center by somewhere along the lines of 15, 20%. And so, yeah, I look at it as there's a whole lot of concern around, does some of the spending materialize? Like where are sovereigns? What about kind of these neo clouds and these model builders who are seeing investment from NVIDIA and then taking that investment and using it to spend on GPUs. I think the reality is a lot of this upside is not coming from that. What we saw in the August-September timeframe is the traditional large buyers, the cloud service providers, and Meta come in with just substantially higher demand for everything. And so I think that's what's driving my entire space right now. And the only reason I can see them coming in with this increase in component requirements and this increase in server requirements is they're seeing more demand. So it goes back to your earlier question, you know, is there a bubble? Like when does this end? The guys who have the most visibility into what's going on with AI back in late August, September, they told us there's simply more demand.
Is there a scenario 2026, 2027? Like, I mean, it's a $5 trillion company trading 30 times sales now. Is there a scenario where everybody's just bought all the chips they need, they bought all the Blackwells, and now, you know, there's been pull forward here because everybody's trying to get ahead of it all, and there's a cooling period coming where everybody's not just going to be continuing to ramp up, you know, their chip needs here, Matt? Or is this just going to continue to ramp here and we're not even anywhere close to meeting the overall demand? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, you know, this is hardware. You always have too much spending at some point in the future, and everything needs to consolidate, and you get a cooling off period. It's not 2026. So could it be, you know, 2027? Could you see Rubin not come out exactly as expected, get delayed? Same thing with NVIDIA, with AMD's parts. You know, it's really hard to know a year ahead of when a product's supposed to launch. Is it going to be ready, particularly when companies are pushing the boundaries around what technology can do? So, yeah, I mean, definitely there could be a cooling off period at some point. I mean, having said that, again, I think if you're Meta, if you're Microsoft, you don't go in and make large commitments around what you're going to spend in your data centers in, again, the late summer, early fall timeframe, if you're looking at that cooling point coming in 6, 9, 12 months. And so I think we can say kind of with confidence, it's probably not a 2026 problem. Beyond that, you know, it's hard. Technology moves really fast, and it will depend on what applications end up getting developed. But it looks like at this point, people are seeing the demand out there, and they're increasing their requirements because of it.
Which brings us to AMD, you know, and just the other, obviously they've got big demand for their chips now too. Lisa Su coming on strong, trying to compete obviously with NVIDIA here. Is there a place where AMD becomes a clear threat to NVIDIA? Can they keep ramping up here too and be an alternative like we saw a big deal with IBM? I mean, I look at the market caps and I see AMD at 400 billion and NVIDIA at 5 trillion, and I think, oh wow, you know, there's a huge difference in market cap here. I mean, you look at a multiple level, but can AMD become a threat to NVIDIA? Is there a path forward there?
I mean, there's always a possibility. So I kind of view AMD versus NVIDIA now on the data center GPU side is somewhat akin to where we were with Intel versus AMD, call it 15 years ago. And obviously that dynamic has shifted substantially. With AMD, I think there's more variability in revenue moving forward. So, you know, it's a huge difference for AMD if they're 10% of the market versus 5% of the market, and either of those results is kind of a better place than they have been the last couple of quarters. So, either of those results is a victory for them. For NVIDIA, it doesn't matter as much as total market growth. And so in the near term, I think it's less, can they become a equal competitor to NVIDIA, as opposed to, can they be a legitimate second source? And I think the answer is yes, they can, because when you look at these architectures, so people talk about ASICs versus GPUs, GPUs are just a whole lot more flexible. And we're at the very beginning of a technology. You want flexibility, and AMD is the other company out there with a GPU-based solution. And so I think ultimately they have success. Could it take them a little bit longer in late 26, particularly given all the shortages that we're now starting to see? Yeah, so could kind of those large deals that they've talked about, could those be more of a 27, 28 phenomenon than a late 26 or early 27 phenomenon? I could definitely see that happening. But I also think that, in a world where you want a flexible architecture, there's two choices out there, and I think people want a second choice. They don't just want to take NVIDIA, and so I think that creates a path to success for AMD.
So every stock needs a catalyst, right? And you have a stock left for dead. President saying, "Hey, we got to get the CEO out of here." And next thing, he's walking up the stairs of the White House. He's putting an arm around Trump. They get the big investment. The stock doubles. My question to you: have the fundamentals improved that much for the price action you've had in Intel?
So I think, Joel, the market's improved. So it's not that Intel is competing better. It's the PC market 3 months ago, it looked like the refresh cycle that everyone had been hoping for was going to disappoint. And over the last 3-4 months, that reality changed. So we went from beginning of the year, PCs were going to be up 5%, middle of the year, PCs were going to be flat, to now we're back up to PCs are going to be up 5%. And that's a big deal for Intel, given the PC CPU market is their single biggest revenue source. At the same time, this increase in demand that I was talking about on the AI side kicked in, and not only were those large data center customers buying AI GPUs, they're also buying server compute, because when you think about your AI process, right, at the end of the day, if I'm using ChatGPT and I'm asking a question, it's probably pulling something from a standard compute process. And so it's driving more standard compute as well. And so Intel's two core markets picked up. And I think that's the change. But fundamentally, for Intel to continue to maintain this valuation, I think they need to fix their production. They need to fix their chip design. And I don't think we've gotten any answers there yet. Certainly, both Lip-Bu and Dave sounded more confident on the call around where they are with 18A and 14A, their next processes. But you really need to see them roll out products, I think, before you get more confident around Intel's ability to compete moving forward. And then the other thing I think that's worth thinking about is, look, PCs getting better was a big deal. Data center is sucking the oxygen out of everything else. So by that, I mean, all of a sudden we're running into component shortages everywhere. And so when you think about 2026, what we've seen historically when this happens is that client products, so smartphones, PCs, those are the areas that have more problems getting component supply. And so do we run into a problem next year with the PC market, for instance, because DRAM prices have gotten so high that they've caused manufacturers to either lift PC prices, which weighs on demand, or potentially eat it on the profit side. But I think at the end of the day, they lift pricing. And so do you run into some demand problems, supply problems? Does that weigh on Intel? That's something I'm thinking about as well. I hope that answers your question.
Well, speaking of DRAM pricing, Micron has just exploded this year. We know this is a business that just tracks DRAM pricing pretty closely here. It can be cyclical as well. I mean, we were at $61 in April with $228 here this morning, making new all-time highs here again. I mean, this is a tough stock to call because it obviously demands on, it relies so much on DRAM pricing. But what are your thoughts here on Micron going forward?
Yeah, so I think that when you look at what Hynix said last night, I mean, Hynix said that they're sold out through 2026. You never hear that from the memory vendors. And so I think what that tells you is very much what I had to say about, the GPUs, for instance. 2026 looks really good. There was this pickup in demand back in August, September, and there's not enough memory supply. There's not enough DRAM. There's not enough NAND. There's not enough HBM. I mean, stepping away from memory, there's not enough hard drives. Just these different commodities didn't anticipate this lift in demand, and bringing on supply takes time. And so you just don't have the fab capacity. And so as long as you don't get some sort of external shock to demand, so we don't get the tensions with China again, or you can't get rare earths, something along those lines, pricing keeps going up because there's just not enough supply. And so I think the memory guys are in a great place. And the last time we saw a true memory cycle was back in 2018. And at that point, Micron had gross margins, I think, north of 60%. I think DRAM margins were close to 70%. And there's still a long ways to go till we get there.
All right, Matt Bryson, Wedbush Securities, equity analyst, hardware. Hardware is hot, and seems like it's going to stay that way, Matt. Always a pleasure having you on. Thank you, and maybe we'll dial you up again before the end of the year. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Maintaining here, up 16 handles, 69.41, 75.
A word from our sponsor, Hive Digital Technologies. Hive Digital Technologies is a global leader in building and operating cutting-edge data centers. From Bitcoin to high-performance computing, Hive is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies like AI with efficient, green, and clean energy. There is a QR code in the bottom right corner of your screen right now. You can also click the description of this YouTube video to click the link and learn more about Hive. Thanks again to Hive Digital Technologies. Also, real quick, folks, couple programming notes for STN here. STN at 10 a.m. we're going to have Mark Chaikin from Chaikin Analytics. Always a pleasure. And then at noon today, Joel and Jeff Bish from Market Gauge are going to be starting a new show, an unnamed show as of yet. We are trying to determine the name, but they gave me a little preview of the show last week. This is going to be a cool little show that we're going to be doing weekly in STN. And then at 1:30, Options Unchained with CC Legator. That will be here on our Pre-Market Prep YouTube channel. Tune in, folks. And then at 2 p.m., we're going to get the Fed rate decision. I'm going to break in with that news in the STN room at 2:30 for the Jay Powell press briefing. We're going to do a little watch party. We'll have a little discussion on what Jay Powell is talking about. Maybe we'll give him some props. Maybe we'll make fun of him a little bit. It'll be a fun little afternoon here in STN. Thank you.
Awesome. So much content here. That's what we're trying to bring you, is more content. So lots of content coming at you guys today as well. And remember, even if you don't subscribe to STN, you will see CC Legator at 1:30 on Pre-Market Prep channel here. So be there to see CC's and talk some options with us. Awesome. Caterpillar. I want to go to the cat. It's a big move. Yes, it's a value stock, kind of a value stock, but it's also kind of a little bit of an AI play. It's kind of an AI play too.
I looked up the forward PE because somebody asked earlier in the pre-market prep chat, is CAT a value play? The forward PE is like almost 25 times. So I don't even know. I don't even know.
I mean, you got to dig out all these data centers. You got to dig, you got to do some stuff here. So, I mean, use those caterpillars to do that. That's what they'll take it to. Like, eventually you start thinking this as more of like an AI play as well. Because, these things aren't just, in the cloud. These are actual physical things that you got to build out. So, I mean, there's probably some caterpillars digging those holes. So, anyways, I think there's caterpillar.
Sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
No, I just think Caterpillar, making new all-time highs here. It's not that surprising the strength that we've seen in Caterpillar over the last year with AI as strong as it is. So I think there's a play there too. So
and the catalyst this morning, earnings, of course, strong report, 495 in earnings. Analysts were down around 450. Sales also beating pretty substantially here, 17.64 billion. Analysts were expecting about 16.7 billion. I didn't see any guidance out of Caterpillar, but the street is loving it here this morning. Stock up 7%.
15 points above its all-time high. Its former all-time high made at 544.99. You are trading above the expected move by about $7. So maybe we can use the top of that expected move, $7 lower, as support. When you get these kind of moves above the expected move, it puts the option writers in a tough position. So they might just have to come in and just keep barreling and buying stock. But if you want to see, if you're buying this thing up $34.50 on the open, looking for 560, 570, you want the follow through. If they could somehow start to, get it back into that expected range, perhaps see some profit taking in the CAT.
Fubo up 23% here this morning. They got the deal
23
done.
now?
I know.
My God.
It's like nobody knew about this deal. They're like the algos, and this is again stupid algos. They're like, oh my gosh, Fubo's doing a deal with Disney. We better buy that. Algos say, we already knew this, didn't we, Brad?
We already knew
all this information.
Yes, absolutely. We knew this on. There was one little tidbit of new information. We knew that Fubo shareholders approved the business combo with Disney's Hulu Plus and live TV back on September 30th. A press release here this morning that says Fubo, Disney's Hulu Plus live TV, complete business combination. If this is 90% of other stocks and they announced the closing of a business combination that we already knew about, this is just a formality. Hey, we formally closed this transaction. If this was 90% of other stocks, this would not move the stock. There was the one little piece of new information that I dug out was that the combined company will have access to $145 million term loan that Disney has committed to provide Fubo in 2026 as part of the transaction. Was there some concern? Like, you got to ask, was there some concern that Fubo and Disney were not going to get this deal done? I'm not aware of that, if that was something people were talking about, but you said it, Dennis. This is how the algos are reacting. They're seeing, oh, Fubo, Disney in a headline, and they buy, and then momentum starts. And then humans start noticing, oh, there is a deal. Yeah, there is a deal. There's a deal with Fubo and Disney. And then that momentum comes in. This is the market that we operate in, folks.
I mean, there was a possibility, Ryan saying in the chat too, that this deal wasn't going to go through. It's a possibility there. So now we get confirmation that the deal did go through. So it is a good thing. But I just think, rallying 25% on a deal that might or might not. I mean, we can justify the move, and media will justify the move with that because they'll always find a reason. But I think it's a little bit of like algos just see and they buy, and the thing just hit. What did it just hit, Joel? 480?
Yep.
We just hit 480. We're already 40 cents off the highs. I think you just saw the high of the day.
477, and when the last run it got up at this area was 472, so you have some confluence there. Also with stocks, we've seen this before, that $5 level when they get off the mat. So there's your potential resistance in Fubo rallying, just sitting there real quiet near the lows of the move. Dennis, I know you've been following this one pretty closely, but if you were waiting for this announcement for the pop, you're getting it. And let's see if it can maintain these gains on a session.
So 1 minute left here. Just overall final thoughts. I think today sets up very much like yesterday. What does that mean? Being driven by mega caps. Amazon having a good morning here too. Chat pulling it out. Tesla's on the move here again. I've said 500 by the end of the year. I've been saying that for a while. Looked a little bit dicey last week, but now back, to new all-time highs. Are getting very close to it again here, and I like the chart. So I think Tesla sets up well too. Microsoft moving up. It's going to be a Mag 7 day, it looks like here happening. And what does that mean? It means probably everything else takes a back seat. So if you're thinking you're going to go buy your Berkshire Hathaways and your banks and your staples and all your value names, I think as long as NVIDIA and the Mag 7 remain strong, I think those stocks remain weak. So we see the RSP has now went to the red here again. Could be a repeat of yesterday. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This day looks very much like it's setting up like yesterday, where I think value trade is going to be under pressure.
Also, you're looking for a catalyst at 2 p.m. I mean, you're going to get another cut, potentially another cut in interest rates, a high probability. Of course, what will be the tone when Powell speaks, right? What's set up for November, what's set up for next year. So mega cap, NVIDIA leading the way market, new all-time highs here. That's a wrap here on this website.